By Vulpine law, she was forced to undress, but a human's kindness changed her fate. The auction block on Xenos Prime was cold and bright. Metal floors reflected the harsh lights above, and the air smelled like burnt wires and sweat. Rows of cages stood in neat lines, each holding a different kind of alien. Some whimpered. Some stared blankly at the floor. Others had given up long ago. In cage number 12 stood a young Vulpine woman. Her silver fur was dull from days without care, her ears drooping slightly but her eyes burned with quiet fire. Her name was Luna, though no one here used it. To the slavers, she was just Lot 29. Vulpine law was strict and unforgiving. If a female could not bear healthy young by her 20th cycle, she was declared barren. Once declared, she lost everything: her home, her name, her right to wear clothes in public. She became property to be sold like scrap metal or old tech. Luna had been tested 3 times. Each time the healers shook their heads. Her body, they said, would never carry life, so her clan cast her out without ceremony. Now she stood half naked on the auction block, shivering not from cold but from shame. The law demanded she be presented bare for inspection. Modesty was a luxury for the worthy. The auctioneer, a thick-necked Krell with yellowed tusks, tapped his datapad. Lot 29, pure Vulpine female, 19 cycles old, no injuries, clean bloodline. Starting bid, 600 credits. Buyers leaned forward. Scanners hummed as they checked her vitals through the bars. One ogre merchant licked his lips. A reptilian broker tapped his clawed fingers, calculating resale value. Luna kept her eyes on the far wall, refusing to let them see her fear. She had heard what happened to Vulpine females sold to pleasure dens or mining colonies. Some never came back. Others came back broken. Then a voice spoke from the back of the room. "I'll take her." It was calm, clear, and human. The crowd turned. A woman stood near the exit, dressed in a faded blue jumpsuit. Her dark hair was pulled into a simple ponytail, and her hands were calloused but clean. She carried no weapon, no scanner, no sign of wealth, just a small satchel and steady eyes that held no greed. The auctioneer snorted. "You human? You understand the price?" "Yes," the woman said. She walked forward slowly, pulling a worn pouch from her belt. 600 credits. All I have." Laughter rippled through the room. Humans were rare on Xenos Prime, and most were poor scavengers or station workers. Paying 600 credits in physical coin was almost unheard of. The Krell took the pouch, counted the coins with slow, skeptical fingers, then shrugged. "Deal sealed." "She's yours," Luna's heart hammered. She expected chains, a collar, rough hands. Instead, the human stopped a few feet from the cage and crouched low, meeting her eyes without pity. "My name's Claire," she said softly. "You don't have to be afraid." Luna said nothing. Fear had locked her throat shut, but Claire didn't reach for her. Instead, she pulled a folded piece of fabric from her satchel, a soft gray shawl, and held it through the bars. "Wrap this around you. You're coming with me." Confused, Luna took it. The fabric was warm, clean, and smelled faintly of herbs. She wrapped it around her shoulders like a shield. The cage door hissed open. She stepped out, bracing for a grip on her arm. None came. Claire simply turned and walked toward the exit, glancing back once to make sure Luna followed. Outside, the twin suns of Xenos Prime cast long shadows over the dusty streets. Claire led her to a small shuttle parked near a broken-down fuel pump. The ship was old, patched with mismatched plating, but the engine purred like a contented cat. Inside, the cabin was tidy. Books lined a narrow shelf. A small cot sat against one wall. A kettle steamed on a tiny stove. "You can sleep here tonight," Claire said, pointing to the cot. "Tomorrow we'll talk about what you want to do." Luna stood in the doorway, clutching the shawl. "Why did you buy me?" Claire stirred something in a pot. "I didn't buy you. I paid to get you out of there." "That's not the same thing, but you own me now." "No," Claire said firmly, turning to face her. "No one owns anyone. Not where I come from." Luna had never heard such words. In Vulpine society, females belonged to their clans, to their mates, to the law. The idea of being free, truly free, felt like a dream too fragile to trust. That night, Luna lay on the cot, wrapped in the shawl. The ship hummed softly around her. For the first time in months, she felt safe. Not because she was protected, but because she wasn't wanted for anything. Claire asked for nothing. Not her body, not her obedience, not even thanks. The next morning, Claire offered her a cup of warm broth and a clean tunic. "I run a small repair shop on Ceres Station," she explained. "Mostly fixing comms units and old navigation systems. It's not fancy, but it's honest work. If you want, you can stay with me, learn the trade. Or you can leave. Your choice. Luna looked down at the tunic. It was soft, the color of morning sky. You would let me go? Of course, Claire said. But I hope you stay. The galaxy's big, and it's easier to face it with someone beside you. Something in Luna's chest loosened. Not pain, but hope. She nodded slowly. I'll stay. Weeks passed. Luna learned to strip wires, test circuits, and recalibrate signal boosters. She spoke little at first, but Claire never pushed. She simply worked beside her, sharing stories of Earth, of green fields, rainy days, and cities where lights never went out. Luna, in turn, shared quiet memories of her homeworld, of moonlit dances, clan feasts, and the sound of wind through silver trees. One afternoon, as they repaired a damaged relay, Luna asked, "Why did you help me? You didn't know me." Claire wiped grease from her hands. Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. Kindness is the only thing that doesn't lose value when you give it away. Luna thought about that for a long time. She began to see herself not as broken, but as someone who had survived. The shame of Vulpine law still lingered, but it no longer owned her. Months later, a distress call crackled over the comms. A freighter was stranded near the asteroid belt. Engines dead, life support failing. Claire didn't hesitate. "We're going," she said, already pulling on her flight jacket. Luna paused. "It could be dangerous." "Maybe," Claire replied. "But they need help." As they flew toward the coordinates, Luna realized something. She wasn't just following Claire anymore. She was choosing to help. Because she could. Because she wanted to. They found the freighter listing sideways, hull cracked from a collision. Inside, 3 miners were trapped in the cargo bay, one bleeding badly from a leg wound. Luna used her Vulpine strength to bend twisted metal while Claire worked on the injured man. Together, they got everyone onto their shuttle. Back on Ceres Station, the miners thanked them with tears in their eyes. An older human with kind eyes took Luna's hand. "You saved my life," he said. Luna looked at Claire, then back at the man. "We did." That night, Luna stood on the station's observation deck, watching stars drift in silent rivers. Claire joined her, handing her a mug of mint tea. "You've changed," Claire said quietly. "So have you," Luna replied. "You gave me more than freedom. You gave me purpose." Claire smiled. "You found that yourself." Luna shook her head. "No. You showed me it was possible." From that day on, Luna no longer thought of herself as Lot 29. She was Luna, technician, friend, rescuer. The galaxy was still vast and often cruel, but she had found a place in it, not because she was owned, but because she chose to belong. And sometimes, late at night, when the station lights dimmed and the stars burned bright outside, she would hum a tune Claire had taught her. Not a clan song of duty, but a human melody about kindness, courage, and the quiet light that shines when someone chooses to care. Peace on Ceres Station had grown roots deep and quiet. The shop buzzed with steady work, the medbay hummed with healing, and the children played in the hydroponic gardens under soft artificial suns. Luna moved through it all with calm purpose, her silver fur catching the light, her steps sure. She no longer flinched at the sound of approaching ships. She listened for them. But one morning, the comms crackled with a signal that made her blood run cold. It was encrypted old style, using a code she hadn't heard since childhood, the Silvermeyer emergency cipher. Only clan elders and enforcers knew it, and it was never used unless the entire bloodline was in danger. Claire saw her face go pale. "What is it?" Luna played the message again. A voice weak and ragged spoke through static. "This is Elder Torin of Silvermeyer. Our homeworld is under siege. The council is gone. The enforcers have turned. They call themselves the Pure Blood. They kill any female who shows weakness or kindness. We are hiding in the moon caves. Please, if anyone hears this, do not come. It is a death trap." The message ended with a burst of noise. Luna stood frozen. Torin had been her mother's closest friend. He had held her as a child when her mother died. He had tried to speak against her exile, but the council silenced him. "They're slaughtering their own," Luna whispered. Claire put a hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to go back." "I do," Luna said. "Not for the council. Not for the law. But for Torin. For the ones who can't run." They gathered the others. Nora, Maya, Rhea, even Kai. They sat in the common room. The message playing once more. When it ended, silence filled the air. "It's a trap," Maya said. "They know you'll come?" "Maybe," Luna replied. But if even one life is real, it's worth the risk. They planned for 3 days. Claire retrofitted the shuttle with stealth plating and decoy signals. Nora packed medical kits with the red scale cure and emergency nutrients. Maya mapped escape routes through the asteroid rings near Vulpine space. Rhea prepared herbal sedatives for shock. Kai, though young, insisted on coming. "I can fly back up," he said, jaw set. "I know the systems." Luna looked at him, then nodded. "You stay in the shuttle." "No heroics," he grinned. "No promises." They left at dusk, slipping past station patrols like shadows. The journey took 2 days. As they neared Vulpine space, the stars grew fewer, the silence heavier. Then they saw it, the homeworld, once glowing with silver forests and crystal rivers, now shrouded in smoke. Orbital defenses were dark. No comms, no signals, just deathly quiet. They landed in a hidden valley, far from the main cities. The air smelled of ash and burnt metal. Following Torin's last coordinates, they trekked through the forest, now charred and broken, until they reached the moon caves. Inside, the survivors huddled in darkness. 20 Vulpines, mostly females and young ones. Their eyes lit up when they saw Luna. "You came," Torin rasped. He was thin, his fur matted, but his eyes still held warmth. "Of course I did," Luna said, kneeling beside him. The story spilled out. A faction of enforcers calling themselves the Pureblood had seized power after a false report claimed off-world diseases were weakening Vulpine bloodlines. They declared all compassion a flaw, all mercy a disease. They executed elders, burned clinics, and hunted any female who showed softness. Torin and his group had fled, but food was low and 2 children were sick with fever. Luna's heart ached. This was not her people. This was fear wearing their skin. They set to work. Nora treated the sick. Rhea brewed calming teas. Maya and Claire rigged solar chargers for heat. Kai stayed by the cave entrance, monitoring scanners. But they knew they couldn't stay long. The Pure Blood patrolled daily. On the second night, Torin pulled Luna aside. "There is a way to end this," he said. "The Central Archive. It holds every law, every judgment, every record of our people. If it is destroyed, their claim to purity collapses. They have no history to stand on." "Where is it?" Luna asked. "Beneath the council spire. Guarded." Luna looked at Claire. "We have to try." They left at dawn. Kai stayed with the refugees. The rest moved like ghosts through the ruins of the capital city. The council spire loomed ahead. Once proud, now draped in black banners bearing the Pure Blood symbol. A clenched fist over a broken heart. Claire disabled the outer sensors. Nora created a diversion by triggering an old maintenance drone. Maya jammed comms. Luna slipped inside. The archive was deep underground, lit by cold blue lights. Rows of data crystals stretched into darkness. At the center stood the master terminal, the source of all official records, including the laws that had condemned her. She inserted Elena Cruz's data core, the one with the cure, and uploaded something else. Every story from Ceres Station. Every rescue, every act of kindness, every life saved not by law but by choice. Then she triggered the overload. Alarms blared. Lights flashed red. She ran. Outside, chaos erupted. The Pure Blood enforcers swarmed the spire, confused by the system crash. In the confusion, Luna's group vanished into the smoke. Back at the caves, they gathered the refugees. "We're leaving," Luna said. "All of you. Where will we go?" a young female asked. "Somewhere kindness isn't a crime," Luna replied. They returned to Ceres Station 3 days later. 20 new faces joined their growing family. Turin, weak but smiling, sat with Claire on the observation deck. "You didn't just save us," he said. "You gave us a new way to be Vulpine." Weeks passed. The Pure Blood faction collapsed without the archive to justify their rule. Scattered resistance rose across the homeworld. Whispers of a new council began, led not by enforcers but by healers, teachers, and mothers. Luna received a message from a young rebel leader. "We are rewriting the laws. Will you help us?" She showed it to Claire. "What will you do?" Claire asked. Luna looked out at the stars, then at the faces inside the station. Nora teaching, Rhea healing, Kai laughing, Maya planning their next run. "I'll stay here," she said. "This is where the new laws begin. Not in halls of power, but in places like this." Claire smiled. "Then we keep building." And they did. The station grew, not in size, but in heart. More came, more stayed, and the beacon burned brighter. One evening, as Luna tucked Kai into bed, he asked, "Do you think we changed the galaxy?" Luna kissed his forehead. Maybe not the whole galaxy, but we changed our corner of it. And that's enough. Outside, a new ship approached, its signal weak but hopeful. Luna stood, smoothed her tunic, and walked to the dock because someone always needed help. And she would always be there to give it. Months had passed since Luna left the auction block and Ceres Station had become her home. The repair shop buzzed with quiet activity. Wires coiled on workbenches, tools hung in neat rows, and the soft hum of a dozen devices being brought back to life. Luna moved through it all with growing confidence, her silver fur now clean and gleaming. Her posture no longer bent by shame but held straight with quiet pride. She wore simple tunics Claire had stitched for her, and though she still startled at loud noises, she no longer flinched when someone entered the room. Claire watched her from across the shop, wiping grease from a circuit board. She said nothing, but her eyes held a warmth that needed no words. They had fallen into a rhythm, mornings spent fixing comms units, afternoons sharing tea and stories, evenings watching the stars from the observation deck. It was a small life, but it was theirs. One morning, a message arrived on the station's public channel. It was short and urgent. Vulpine vessel adrift near Sector 7. Crew unresponsive. Possible biohazard. All nearby ships advised to avoid. Luna froze. Her ears twitched, her tail stiffened. Sector 7 was close, only 2 jumps away. And a Vulpine vessel meant her people, her clan, the same ones who had cast her out. Claire saw the change in her instantly. "You want to go," she said, not as a question. Luna hesitated. "I don't know. They threw me away like broken tech." "Why would I help them?" "Because you're not them," Claire replied. "And maybe because you're better." Luna looked down at her hands that now fixed things instead of waiting to be used. She thought of the miners they'd saved, of the quiet dignity Claire had given her without asking for anything in return. Maybe kindness wasn't weakness. Maybe it was strength. "We should check," Luna said finally, "just to be sure." Claire nodded. "Then we go." They prepped the shuttle in silence. Claire loaded medical kits and sealant foam. Luna checked the hull integrity and ran diagnostics on the thrusters. Within an hour, they were in the void, stars stretching endlessly around them. The Vulpine ship appeared on the view screen like a ghost, sleek, silver, and eerily still. No lights, no signals, no movement. It bore the crest of the Silvermeyer clan, Luna's own bloodline. Her stomach twisted. They docked carefully. Claire in a sealed enviro suit, Luna in a lighter breather mask. The airlock opened with a hiss. Inside, the corridors were dark and cold. Frost lined the walls. Emergency lights flickered weakly. Then they heard it. A faint whimper. Following the sound, they found the ship's medbay. Inside, a young Vulpine female lay on a cot, feverish and shivering. Her fur was patchy, her eyes glassy. Beside her, a datapad displayed a diagnosis. Red-scale fever. A rare but deadly illness that only affected Vulpine females during their fertility cycles. Luna's breath caught. She knew this sickness. It had killed her mother. The girl stirred, her voice weak. "Please, don't let them take me." "Who?" Luna asked gently. "The enforcers," the girl whispered. "They said if I fall ill before pairing, I'm unfit. They'll sell me. Like they did you." Luna's heart stopped. "You know me?" The girl nodded faintly. "Luna of Silvermeyer. They said you were barren, disgraced, but my brother saw you on Xenos Prime. He said a human saved you. He said you looked free." Luna's eyes filled with tears. She had thought no one remembered her name. Claire stepped forward, scanning the girl with a med tool. "She's dehydrated and running a high fever. If we don't treat her now, she won't last the night." "But the fever—" "It's contagious," Luna said, fear rising. "Vulpine only, but still." "Then we take precautions," Claire said firmly. "We don't leave her." They worked through the night. Claire administered antivirals from their limited supply. Luna used her knowledge of Vulpine physiology to adjust the dosage, recalling old healing songs her grandmother used to hum. She bathed the girl's forehead with cool cloths, whispering reassurance in the old tongue. By dawn, the fever broke. The girl opened her eyes, clearer now. "Thank you," she whispered. Luna held her hand. "What's your name?" "Nora," she said. "I was to be paired next cycle, but the fever came early. They locked me in here, said I was a liability." Luna's anger burned, but it was quiet now, focused. "You're not a liability. You're a person." They brought Nora back to Ceres Station. Claire cleared a corner of the shop for her recovery, rigging a small heater and clean bedding. Luna stayed by her side, teaching her how to solder wires, how to read human star charts, how to make mint tea just right. Nora listened, wide-eyed. You live like this? No clan, no law? No law but the one we choose, Luna said. And the only duty is to be kind. Weeks passed. Nora grew stronger. She laughed more. She even started helping with repairs, her small paws surprisingly quick with micro-tools. One evening, as the three of them ate stew under the soft glow of overhead lights, Nora asked, "What happens when I'm well? Do I go back?" Luna and Claire exchanged a look. "You don't have to," Claire said. "You can stay, learn, build a life." Nora was quiet for a long time. Then she said, "My brother. He wanted to leave too, but he was afraid, maybe. Maybe if he knew I was safe, he'd come." Luna smiled. "Then we'll send a message quietly, just to him." They did. Using an encrypted channel, Luna wrote a short note. No names, no locations. Just, "I'm safe. She is free." "There is another way." Days later, a reply came. Just 2 words. "Thank you." It was enough. As Nora healed, Luna began to see her past differently. The shame hadn't been hers to carry. It belonged to a system that valued females only for their bodies, not their hearts or minds. She had been told she was nothing because she couldn't give life. But she had given life in other ways. Hope to Nora, help to miners, trust to Claire. One afternoon, while sorting spare parts, Luna found an old data crystal in a crate. Curious, she plugged it into a reader. Static filled the screen, then an image appeared. A young Vulpine woman standing in a field of silver grass, smiling. It was her mother. Years before the fever took her. The recording was short, just a few seconds, but the woman's voice was clear. "My little Luna," she said, "if you ever hear this, know this. You are enough, not because of what you can give, but because you are you." Luna sat very still. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but they were not tears of sorrow. They were tears of release. For the first time, she felt her mother's love not as a memory, but as a truth. That night, she told Claire about the recording. Claire listened, then put an arm around her shoulders. "She knew," Claire said softly. "Mothers always know." From then on, Luna carried the crystal in a small pouch around her neck. Not as a burden, but as a reminder. News of their rescue spread quietly through the station. More ships began sending distress calls their way, not just for repairs, but for help. A stranded botanist with a failing oxygen recycler. A refugee family with a sick child. A lone pilot whose nav system had fried near a black hole. Claire and Luna answered everyone. They weren't heroes. They didn't wear badges or fly fancy ships. They were just 2 women with tools, tea, and a belief that no one should be left behind. One day, a human trader arrived with a strange request. "Heard you help people," he said, scratching his beard. "Got a signal from deep in the fringe. Sounds like a child. No adult voice. Just crying." Claire and Luna exchanged a glance. "We'll go," Luna said. The journey took 3 days. They found a derelict escape pod drifting near a dead star. Inside, huddled in a thermal blanket, was a young Vulpine boy, no older than 6. He was alone, scared, and clutching a stuffed toy shaped like a moon hair. "Where's your family?" Luna asked gently. "Gone," he whispered. "Raiders came. They took everyone." I hid. Luna's heart broke. She wrapped him in her arms, holding him close. "You're safe now." They brought him back to Ceres. Nora helped him settle in, sharing stories and teaching him games. Claire contacted a network of off-grid shelters, but the boy shook his head. "I want to stay with you," he told Luna, so they kept him. They named him Kai, after the old word for starlight. He slept in a small bed beside the cot, and every night Luna sang him the human lullaby Claire had taught her. Life on the station grew fuller. The repair shop became a haven, not just for broken tech, but for broken hearts. Word spread across sectors. Humans, Vulpines. Even a few wary Krell began stopping by, not to buy, but to talk, to heal. Luna no longer thought of herself as barren. She was a maker, a mender, a mother in the truest sense, not by blood, but by choice. And Claire? She watched it all with quiet joy. She had saved 1 life that day on Xenos Prime, but that 1 life had sparked 100 more. One evening, as the 3 of them, Luna, Claire, and Kai, sat on the observation deck watching a meteor shower, Kai asked, "Are we a family?" Luna looked at Claire, then at Nora, who had joined them, then at the stars above. "Yes," she said, "we are." And in that moment, under the endless sky, Luna knew she had not just escaped Vulpine law. She had rewritten it, not with force but with kindness. And that was the most powerful rebellion of all. The beacon they had built on Ceres Station did not burn loud or bright, but it burned true. Ships came and went like whispers in the dark, carrying those who had nowhere else to turn. Luna no longer counted how many lives they'd touched. She simply made room for one more. Claire kept the engines running, the comms clear and the tea hot. Nora taught the young ones how to read star charts and trust their instincts. Kai, now 10 cycles old, could fix a plasma coil faster than most adults. But peace, even quiet peace, never lasts long in the fringe. One morning, a distress signal cut through the usual chatter. It was weak, broken by static, but the voice was unmistakable. Human, female, and terrified. This is Freighter Odyssey. Engines down. Life support failing. Please, anyone. Claire recognized the ship's call sign. It belonged to a small transport that ran medical supplies between neutral colonies. It carried no weapons, no cargo of value, just medicine, food, and hope. We have to go, Claire said before the signal even faded. Luna nodded. She was already pulling on her flight jacket. Kai, stay with Nora. Lock the shop if we're not back in 12 hours. Kai didn't argue. He just hugged her tight and said, "Bring them home safe." They launched within minutes. The shuttle cut through the void, silent except for the hum of the thrusters. 3 jumps later, they found the Odyssey drifting near a dead nebula, its hull scarred by weapon fire. Not pirates, too clean, too precise. Military-grade lasers. Someone didn't want this ship to reach its destination, Claire muttered. They docked carefully, Claire in her envirosuit, Luna with a med kit and a pulse rifle, just in case. Inside, the corridors were dark and cold. Blood streaked one wall, but no bodies. Then they heard it, a soft cry from the cargo hold. They found her curled behind a crate of antibiotics, a young human woman no older than 20, clutching a data slate to her chest. Her leg was bleeding, her face pale, but her eyes were sharp with fear and determination. "Don't shoot," she whispered. "I'm alone." "We're not here to hurt you," Luna said gently, kneeling beside her. "What happened?" "They came out of nowhere," the woman said, voice shaking. "Black ships. No markings. They boarded us, took the captain, the crew. Said the cargo was contaminated. I hid. They didn't find me." Claire scanned the room. "Contaminated? This is just medicine." "Not just medicine," the woman said. She held up the slate. "It's a vaccine. For red scale fever." Luna froze. Red scale. The same illness that had nearly killed Nora. The same plague that had taken her mother. The Vulpine Council had declared it eradicated years ago, but rumors had whispered otherwise. Of outbreaks in remote colonies. Of females dying in silence because no one would send help. "Who sent this?" Claire asked. "Dr. Elena Cruz," the woman said. "She developed it in secret. The council banned her research. Said it encouraged weak bloodlines to survive. But she kept working. This batch was meant for 3 refugee outposts." Luna's hands trembled. Not from fear, but from rage. They were letting her people die, not from sickness, but from pride. "What's your name?" Claire asked as she bandaged the woman's leg. "Maya," she said. "I was just the pilot. But I promised Elena I'd get it through." "You did," Luna said softly, "and we'll finish the job." They brought Maya back to Ceres Station. Nora helped clean her wound while Kai fetched warm broth. Maya watched them with wide eyes.
"You're all..."
"Different," she said. "We choose to be," Nora replied. That night they gathered in the shop. The vaccine vials sat on the workbench, glowing faintly under the lights. 20 doses. Enough to save dozens. "The outposts are deep in Vulpine-controlled space," Claire said. "If we go, we risk everything." Luna looked at Maya, then at Nora, then at Kai. "If we don't go, they die. And that's worse." So they planned. Claire modified the shuttle's signature to mimic a junk hauler. Luna used old clan codes to map patrol blind spots. Maya, once rested, insisted on coming. She knew the drop points. 3 days later, they left under cover of a solar storm. The first outpost was a hidden moon colony, home to outcast Vulpine families. They arrived at dawn. The people were thin, feverish, afraid. When Luna stepped out of the shuttle holding the vaccine, an elder woman fell to her knees. "You came," she whispered. "We always will," Luna said. They stayed long enough to administer the doses, teach basic care, and leave extra supplies. The second outpost was harder. Raiders had struck recently, and trust was thin. But Maya's human face and Claire's calm words opened the door. By nightfall, children were sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks. The third outpost never got the chance. As they approached, they saw smoke rising from the surface. The settlement was burning. They landed anyway. The silence was worse than the fire. Bodies lay in the streets, not from fever but from blades and bullets. The vaccine had never arrived. Someone had intercepted it. Luna walked through the ruins, her heart breaking with every step. Then she saw it, a small handprint in the ash. A child's. She turned to Claire, tears in her eyes. We're too late. Not for everyone, Claire said, pointing to a faint signal on her scanner. Someone's alive. In the lower tunnels. They found 2 survivors, a mother and her infant daughter, hidden in a storage vault. The mother was weak, but the baby was unharmed. She clutched a tiny silver locket shaped like a crescent moon. Luna recognized it. It was a clan token, Silver Meyer. Her name is Sella, the mother whispered. She's all I have left. Luna knelt and gently touched the baby's cheek. Then she'll be safe with us. They brought them back to Ceres Station. The mother, named Rhea, had been a healer before the raid. She joined Nora in the medbay, her knowledge blending with Nora's instinct. Sella, the baby, became Kai's shadow, giggling whenever he made silly faces. But the loss of the third outpost haunted Luna. She had saved some, but not all, and that weighed on her like stone. One evening, Maya found her on the observation deck. You did everything you could, she said. It wasn't enough, Luna replied. Maybe not, Maya said. But you showed them they weren't forgotten. That matters. Luna thought about that. Maybe saving everyone was impossible. But showing up, that was a choice. And it was enough. Weeks passed. The vaccine's success spread. More outposts sent word. More refugees came. And then, a message arrived from an unexpected source. Dr. Elena Cruz herself. She had gone into hiding after the council destroyed her lab. But she had heard what they'd done. She thanked them. And she sent something more. A data core containing all her research, including a permanent cure for red-scale fever. Use it wisely, her message read, and never stop. Luna and Claire worked for days to replicate the formula using station resources. Nora tested it on tissue samples. Kai helped label vials. Soon they had enough for hundreds. They didn't wait for requests. They sent couriers, trusted pilots, former outcasts, even a reformed smuggler, to every hidden colony they knew. The cure traveled in plain boxes, marked only with a small symbol. 2 hands clasped. The Vulpine Council tried to stop it. They issued bans, sent patrols, even threatened neutral stations. But the cure moved like a quiet wind, impossible to catch, impossible to silence. Back on Ceres, life settled into a new rhythm. Rhea taught herbal remedies. Maya stayed, flying supply runs with Claire. Kai began training as a co-pilot. And Luna? She became more than a rescuer. She became a teacher, a leader, a living proof that worth was not given by law but claimed by action. One night, as stars wheeled overhead, Luna stood with Claire on the deck. The station hummed softly around them, full of laughter, repair sounds, and the quiet murmur of healing. Do you ever miss your old life? Claire asked. Luna smiled. I never had one. Not really. This is my first true life. Claire squeezed her hand. Me too. In a galaxy that valued power, speed, and control, they had chosen something quieter, something stronger. Kindness. And in that choice, they had built not just a home, but a future, and somewhere in the endless dark, another lost soul saw a faint light on their scanner and whispered, maybe there's hope after all. The quiet rhythm of life on Ceres Station continued, but change was coming like a slow tide. More ships arrived, not just with broken parts, but with stories. Whispers spread through the fringe worlds of a place where no one was turned away, where a human and a Vulpine woman offered help without asking for payment. Some came seeking repairs, others came seeking hope, and a few came with darker intentions. One afternoon, a sleek black courier vessel docked at Bay 4. It bore no markings, no registration code. Claire frowned as she watched from the shop window. Luna stood beside her, arms crossed, ears alert. That's not a trader, she said quietly. Moments later, a figure stepped onto the platform. Tall, cloaked and moving with the precision of someone trained in silence. The stranger walked straight to their shop and stopped just outside the door. Then, slowly, they pulled back their hood. Luna gasped. It was a Vulpine woman, older, with sharp features and eyes like polished obsidian. She wore the silver armband of a clan enforcer. Her name was Vera, once a high judge in the Silvermire Council. Luna had seen her sentence barren females to auction without a second thought. "Luna of Silvermire," Vera said, her voice cold and smooth. "You're summoned." Luna stepped back instinctively, but Claire moved in front of her. "She doesn't answer to you anymore." Vera's gaze flicked to Claire, then back to Luna. "The law has changed. The High Council has declared all outcast females eligible for reclamation. You are to return for reassessment." "Reassessment," Luna echoed. "Why now?" "Because you live," Vera said simply, "and you thrive. Rumors say you heal, you build, you lead. That is not the fate of the unworthy. The Council wishes to understand." Luna's heart pounded. It sounded like mercy, but she knew better. The Vulpine Council did not admit error. If they wanted her back, it was not to restore her honor. It was to control the story. To say they had allowed her freedom, not that she had taken it. "I'm not going," Luna said. Vera's expression did not change. "Refusal is treason. It carries the death sentence." Claire stepped forward. "She's under human protection. Ceres Station falls under neutral charter. You have no authority here." For the first time, Vera hesitated. She glanced around as if noticing the station for the first time. The mixed crew, the open doors, the children playing near the hydroponics bay. Her eyes lingered on Kai, who peeked out from behind Luna's leg. "This place. It is unnatural," Vera murmured. "It's kind," Luna replied. "Something your laws forgot." Vera studied her for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, she bowed her head slightly. "I will return in 3 days. Think carefully, Luna, not just for yourself, but for those you shelter." She turned and left without another word. After she was gone, silence filled the shop. Nora came running in, having heard everything from the back room. "What do we do?" she asked, her voice trembling. Luna looked at Claire, then at Kai, then at the faces of the others who had gathered. Refugees. Mechanics, healers, all watching her with quiet trust. "We don't run," Luna said, "and we don't hide. If they want to see what we've built, we show them." Over the next 2 days they prepared, not for battle, but for truth. Luna gathered records of every life they'd touched. Claire compiled logs of every rescue, every repair, every act of quiet courage. Nora organized the children to draw pictures of their new home. Kai practiced saying his name clearly, proudly. On the 3rd day, Vera returned. This time, she was not alone. 3 other enforcers stood behind her, along with a data scribe and an elder from the Moonshadow clan. Neutral, but respected. Luna met them at the entrance. "Welcome," she said. "Come inside." They stepped into the shop. The enforcers kept their hands near their weapons, but the elder's eyes widened as he took in the scene. Tools shared freely. A human teaching a Vulpine child to read. A Krell and a reptilian sharing a meal. It was chaos, but it was peaceful. Luna led them through the station. She showed them the medbay where Nora now helped treat the sick. She showed them the workshop where Kai built tiny starship models from scrap. She showed them the garden where food grew under artificial suns, tended by hands of every species. Finally, they stood on the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly. "This is what you built?" the elder asked, his voice soft. "With help," Luna said, "and kindness." Vera said nothing for a long time. Then she turned to Luna. "The Council believes strength comes from purity, from order, from knowing your place. And I believe strength comes from choice," Luna replied, "from helping others find theirs." That night, the visitors stayed in guest quarters. Luna expected confrontation, but none came. Instead, the elder asked to speak with her alone. "You could return as a hero," he said. "The Council would name you a symbol of redemption. They would use your story to say the law is just, that it allows second chances." "But it wouldn't be true," Luna said. "The law didn't give me a second chance, I took it. And I won't let them rewrite that." The elder nodded slowly. "Then perhaps the law must change." The next morning, Vera approached Luna one last time. "The Council will not admit fault," she said. "But they will not pursue you. Consider yourself unbound." It was not forgiveness. It was not justice. But it was freedom. As the black ship departed, Luna felt no triumph, only relief. She had not won a war, but she had held her ground without becoming what she once feared. Weeks later, a small package arrived with no sender. Inside was a silver pendant shaped like a crescent moon, the mark of the Silvermire clan. But etched beneath it in tiny letters was a new symbol, 2 hands clasped, one human, one Vulpine. Luna wore it every day. Life on Ceres Station returned to its gentle pace. But something had shifted. More outcasts came. Not just Vulpines, but others cast out by rigid laws. A cyborg exiled for showing emotion. A telepath declared unstable for feeling too much. A young engineer whose ideas were deemed too dangerous. Luna and Claire welcomed them all. One evening, as they sat on the deck watching Kai chase fireflies in a jar, Claire said, "You've built something beautiful." "We did," Luna replied. "Together." She thought of the auction block, the cold metal, the shame of standing bare before strangers. She thought of the shawl Claire had given her, the first act of kindness that changed everything, and she knew true power was not in laws or clans or councils. It was in the choice to care when no one else would. Months turned into a year. The repair shop became a community center. They started teaching classes, navigation, healing, even music. Nora led a group for young Vulpines, helping them unlearn the shame their societies had taught them. Kai, now taller and bolder, dreamed of becoming a pilot. One day, a message arrived from deep space. It was encoded, but Claire cracked it quickly. It was from a hidden network of rebels, Vulpines, humans, and others who had heard of Ceres Station. They asked for help building safe routes for escapees. Luna didn't hesitate. "We'll help." They began mapping secret corridors through asteroid fields, setting up relay beacons disguised as debris. Claire modified old drones to carry supplies. Luna used her knowledge of Vulpine patrol patterns to avoid detection. It was dangerous work, but it felt right. One night, after a long day of planning, Luna stood alone on the deck. The stars seemed closer than ever. She touched the pendant at her neck and whispered a promise, not to her clan but to herself. "I will not let fear write my story again." From that day on, Ceres Station was more than a home. It was a beacon, not bright enough to blind, but steady enough to guide. And in a galaxy ruled by empires, laws, and cold logic, that small light of kindness became the most powerful force of all.